Hey guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm going to be playing with the Storytime Gnomes, which is the clear Stampin' Die of the month. I'm sorry, these guys are just so stinking cute. I had to get started and I've got actually a couple of ideas for this. Started off though by just stamping out and coloring up one of these little guys using my Spectrum Noir markers. So I will be using that one on a card. And if all goes well, I've got another idea I'm going to try out today. So something I haven't played with in a long time, and I've got like 4 packs of this. 10 sheen seeds, yeah, it's not a ton, but it's been sitting in my stash for 3 years, I think. I'm going to attempt to make some little planner charms or bookmarks with these little guys. Perfect though, I think, because of all the books and the whole book theme of these. So that's what's got me kind of thinking about it. First, I'm going to cut some of the shrink ink plastic down to about the size that I need for one of my little guys here. It's going to make it a little easier to work with. And then I'm going to stamp and color him. So the plastic I'm using is actually the bright white, and that's because this little guy has this beard, and I don't want to, I'm not going to be able to paint that white. You need to use, with this kind of plastic, you need to use your alcohol-based markers, so that's perfect. I'll be able to use my Spectrum Noirs, but you could also use a Sharpie. So this is attempt 2, because what I discovered, and I should have thought of, I think I did think of this and thought, well, I'm going to give it a try anyway. This does not really dry on, it's a pigment ink. It does not stick to the plastic. So I'm going to be using my StazOn. This works on plastic, and I don't know why, but I never ever use it. So I'm going to use this today, hoping this has not dried out. Like I said, I don't think I think I've probably only used it like 3 or 4 times. So let's go ahead and stamp these guys down. Now the other basically smudged, and the plastic I'm working with right now, it's the same. I just took some alcohol and cleaned it right off. It didn't stick at all using the VersaFine Clair, and I think I left it sitting there for about, I don't know, 15 minutes. Okay, this does not have enough ink on there, so let's do that again. Okay, that is a bit better. I am going to have to go down one more time, I think, though. And they are sticking a lot to the plastic, so just so you know, this is one reason why I love using my Misty, is so that I can restamp things. But we already know our stamps basically stick to anything, you know, non-porous. It does stick to plastic very, very well. So that's one reason why they're not wanting to pop up. But that's okay. We got this, right? Okay, I think that is going to be good enough because I can see them enough to be able to color them. Next, I am going to give it a couple of minutes though to make sure that it does dry. I don't know if it needs extra time to dry or not, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. And then I'm going to be coloring these up with my Spectrum Noir markers. So I'm wanting these to be charms, so I am punching a hole up at the top, about where I want that hole to be on the charm. And I'm just using my crocodile for that. This one I need to trim back a little bit so I can be close enough. There we go. Because these are going to shrink back quite a bit. And the hole's going to be kind of tiny, so I am using a 1/4 inch hole punch. We're going to see how that goes. I'm assuming it's going to go okay. And we'll do this last one. Actually, I went ahead and did a 4th. Anywho, we're going to see how these go. Okay, you do want to try not to go over the lines any more than you have to, because you will start to pick up some of that ink. When you're actually coloring it down, it winds up looking much lighter, so you can barely see that I added any color to these, right? I did though. So it is there, and I think what's probably going to work best for me, and it's going to, like I said, it's going to get much brighter and everything when we get done. This one I'm using right now is my FS2, and that's a flesh tone, and so it's not going to be seen very well. But I think just doing a little pouncing thing, just dotting them on there should work, so I don't pick up too much of that black ink. And then I am using a paper towel to blot it off. So I'm doing all of the skin first. And on the hands, because of the fingers, you really can't help but touch the ink. So that's one reason why I'm needing to blot them off. Okay, so we've got all of the skin done. This one has got, I think, probably the easiest coloring to do because it doesn't have quite as many black lines. So I'm going to start off with this one, I think. And let's give him, I keep wanting to go with red and green, but I don't want to go with red and green. So we're going to go with some blue. I've got this IB3. I think that'll be cute. I'm going to go in on his hat. And I think that might be, let me go with this one next. I love the little hot guy with the hat, but it's going to be impossible to miss all of those little hearts, I think, but I'm going to give it a try. Okay, so he's got his little hat on. Let's color his shirt to match. Okay, and his little mug. So he looks good. Next, what do I want to do next? I'm going back and forth between all of these guys. Okay, so I think I am going to go in. I'm going to go in with some pink. Yeah, it's going to be cute. So I'm going to, let's see. This one is a bright pink. It's an MG3, and let's do his hat. And I am going to really try to avoid those little white hearts. They're going to look like little white polka dots, I think, when it shrinks down, and it may not be noticeable. So this is going to be a good experiment for me. Like I said, I've only used my shrink plastic a couple of times. So let's see how it does. Let's see how much detail is actually needed when you're doing this. Okay, so he's got a pink hat, and let's go with, I'm going to try yellow for the other guy's hat. Just experimenting to see how this is going to look. Like I said, these are all going to turn out much deeper and bolder when we're done. If you want to think about it, it's kind of like when you do things with your sublimation inks. When you put them down on the paper, they don't look anything like what they're going to look like when you get done and everything's been heated and you do the transfer to your blank. Always turns out so much more vibrant. So I'm kind of expecting that with this too. Okay, and let's do the binding, or the pages of this book in the yellow. And again, I am going over those lines and picking up some of that black ink. It's still going to be okay. I'm just going to keep wiping it off of my marker. Okay, so there we go. And I think I want this little guy's book to be yellow too. So again, just doing that dotting all over, trying to avoid as much of the black as I can, but wiping off the tip of my marker as often as I need to. Oh, it looks kind of cute. Okay, what color do we want to go with next? Let's do some purple. Gonna go with some brown for the shoes. And the inside of his coffee. Okay, this is actually darker than I was thinking of doing, but my HE1 appears to be dry. Okay, I'm going to say that those are done, so I'm going to let them dry a little bit before I start trying to cut them out. So next we're going to go ahead and shrink them down. I've got them all cut out. And I've got a heat glove on because, yeah, I know me. I would probably put my hand on something when I shouldn't and burn myself. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do this in an oven. If you have a craft oven, that's great, especially if you're going to be doing a bunch of them. I know I've got 4 here. I'm just going to go ahead and do them sitting at my desk and using my embossing tool. Most of you guys have got a heat gun, so that is what we're going to use. I've got a little metal tin here that I'm going to use. I figure the metal will probably help reflect the heat back. Also, because it's got raised edges, it won't fly off of my desk quite so much. I'm also going to be using my Gloria Wolf Pokey tool to hold it in place. And this is another nice thing about having a hole already pre-punched. For one thing, if you heat it first and then punch it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do it because it's going to be thicker plastic. But this also gives me a place to hold on to it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm using my Wagner heat gun here. Oh, this is so cute. Okay, I think it's almost done. Okay, let's go ahead and pop that out. And it's not completely flat yet, but I'm just going to put a block on there. So you remember, these were all about the same size, right? So next I'm going to do one of these, and that way you'll be able to see the difference in the size between the two. And doing the hole as large as I did made it so that it's the perfect size to put a jump ring through. But look at our little bitty baby gnome. I think this one went faster because my heat gun had a chance to really get hot from doing the first one before we started on the second. Let's do this one, and then I'm going to show you the comparison between those two because they will have had time to cool off a little bit. Okay, so here is the original size. That's 2.5 inches tall, and now he is about 1.5 inches. So I'd say he's about 1/3 of the size. I think these are turning out super adorable. Oh my goodness. And that's it. It took almost no time. Once I got the coloring done, it took very little time to get these little guys done. Let's go ahead and add them to some jump rings and turn them into some cute little charms. Now I'm using jump rings to finish this off. A jump ring is basically a little circle that has it's basically cut right about there. Okay, you need to find where the cut is, and what you do with these is you are going to twist them open. You don't pull them apart, you twist them open. The easiest way to do that is with 2 pairs of jewelry pliers, and then we can just slide that on, and then I'm just going to add this little lobster clip on and then just twist it back. And now you have your little charm. And you could add this to the outside of your planner, or if you wanted, you could always add it before the lobster clip, which I think I might do on one of them. You could add a bit of chain, and that way it's kind of a bookmark with a little chain hanging off the end. So many different ways you could do this, and you don't have to use them as planner charms like that. You could make them into earrings or, you know, whatever you want to do. Just add them to your piece of jewelry and you are good to go. I think these turned out so cute. And who doesn't love a little gnome? Okay, I want to know from you guys, is this something that you're going to try? And what do you like better, the card or the charms? And which of the charms do you like the best? I think these are just so adorable. Let's take another quick look at those little guys. I think these turned out so nice. So you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.